I can't hear now. Okay.
I'm very happy. Some internet issues. I'm really sorry, but at the
Oh,
DLRC campus,
everybody's mute.
and today we're
Okay.
going to have
Okay.
our
Ajay,
interaction
can you
with the
speak something?
founders, the co-founders of DLRC,
Hi.
and we're going to
Hello.
approach the philosophy behind starting in this wonderful school. So I'm going to just share on DLRC where we get a view of the
Mona, can
campus
you hear me?
is. And so here we go.
Maybe you need to share sound, Sharmila.
So that is the beautiful campus of DLRC. Yes, Mona,
You are
am I
audible, but
not
the video
You are
audible?
has a
audible now.
sound. You need to share the sound of the video.
This video has a sound, Sharmila,
So here we see the
and
premise of, yeah, it's not coming on,
अच्छा अच्छा ठीक है
Pavan,
कोई
it's
बात नहीं.
not coming on. So I think we'll just see it because it's still a beautiful video. So yeah, so it gives a good idea of how the campus looks like, along with the students, facilitators, and everybody. So yes. So okay. So the campus, and so are all the other founders. Before I start asking our questions and interacting with the founders, I would just like to share something about DLRC. So we as a family got involved. We had been to DLRC about 4 years ago for a demo session. More than 4 years ago. This was in
More than
2016. We had been to DLRC for a demo, and DLRC used to run from a small bungalow in Pune. And my children spent the day there, and the end of the day they said, Mama, this is where we want to go. We don't want to go back to our school. Soon my older son joined DLRC as a student, and my second son followed, and even I followed because I started facilitating maths and theme to the primary section. We were there for about 3 years, and then my children decided to try out homeschooling, and and that was when we hello. Hello. I think
Sharmila, we can hear you.
there seems to be a disturbance. Yeah. No, I can hear some disturbance, so I was a little
That's okay, Sharmila. Life on the
wary
farm
of it,
is
but I think it's
really,
gone
full
now.
of adventure. So
Yeah. So coming back to my story, when we shifted to the there is some connectivity issue. So yes. So to go back to my story, Just recently, I read a book written by Satish Kumar, who runs the Schumacher College. And in his book, he had shared that, we are nature. We are, and once humans realize that we are nature, we will start taking care of it. And what I see at the campus, a complete environmentally sustainable space where every individual uh, just in a very natural way learns that they are nature, they are part of nature, and everything that they do, they have to take care of every living being, non-living being that is created by our natural resources. So I think that appeals to me the most about the LRC. And now, before over to our founders, they are eagerly waiting. And my first question to them is, what inspired you to start the LRC? And what is it that, brought you guys together and motivated you to start this space?
Right. I would like to take that first up. And
Sure.
I would say fundamentally it is our personal learning journeys that we have had. For me, it was from school, where I saw that the value that good mentors and good peers can get to you. And all throughout our journeys, we saw that we value deeper learning, we value immersive learning. And I think uh, I, personally, for me, I had started working with Arvind Gupta toys at Ayuka, and there I saw that you can make friends with toys. You can make friends with these concepts through the toys, and that gets you talking to the concepts, and which gets you into a very friendly space. And then moving on, then started working with some startups, and I remember meeting Ajay and Mona there while working at that startup, and then the journey just kind of sprung on. I would say, and I will pass the baton to Ajay and just to share that part of the journey.
Okay, Pavan. So I would say that we had just moved back from Bali, Indonesia, and we were looking for a way that our children could learn uh, differently and in a natural environment. Primarily, I would say using energy as a learning resource, and it is through that we were all the three. Pavan joined us, and we started with a few students with the vision that we could use energy and nature as a means to impart all kinds of learning that a child needs to learn all the way from primary to high school, and that is really what gave birth to DLRC. Mona, if you would like to add anything
Wow.
to that story, great.
Okay. Yeah. So, taking it forward, a lot of people, even that I know, they ask me, what is DLRC? Where does this, come from? So maybe you could share the story behind the name. How did this name
Yeah.
arise? Mm.
So Sharmila, it's very interesting, and it's these are such organic journeys that we've gone through at DLRC. In fact, every day is such a journey because of our community, because of the kind of context created in our community by the kids, parents, and facilitators, and three of us also. That uh, it goes back to actually my BSc time, where in my BSc in third year, I was doing a project on solar energy, and I saw that there was a company called as Drive Change that was doing some work out there in
Okay.
Singapore. And then I realized, wow, ये लोग तो बहुत बढ़िया काम कर रहे हैं. इनके साथ तो काम करना चाहिए, मिलना चाहिए इनसे. And then somehow I did not connect at that time, but somehow afterwards, while I was working at the startup, we then connected, and Ajay wanted to start an energy learning center, so ELC.
Okay.
And we kind of started playing around with the words, and since they had this beautiful initiative called as Drive Change, then we said, okay, should we name it as Drive Change Resource Center, or it should be drive change is one word. So let's not just have a resource center, it needs to be a learning center also. So it is
Wow.
DLRC, where drive change learning and resource center is the full form, and drive change is one word. So that's how it kind of
Wow,
came up.
wow. So what I can see that yes, it is also about driving change, bringing and working with children to bring in this change where children, adults, and everybody, in the general community start looking at sustainable practices of living, who look at learning as a source to grow and to, also believing that learning is lifelong. So I see that very much at the center. And in fact, that brings me to the next question. So, what is the philosophy or the approach behind, you'll have classes right from K to 12, that is up to grade 12, and so many children in the premise. So, what is the philosophy? How is your learning approach? What are your beliefs around learning?
Okay, I'll take that question. So,
Sure, Mona.
lots of beliefs around learning, of course. Learning is life, right? I think a few key things that drive our pedagogy and philosophy. One is that uh, I remember when I was doing my master's and my thesis and everything, uh, I came across this question, which is, what is your ecological address? At that time, I think I was obviously really struggling with it, and of course we studied it and all. But over the years, after living in Bali, after living here, living with the environment, living in the environment is like the key pedagogical driving force behind drive change, I would say. And as you can see from our campus, like, right, it's made up of all sustainable materials, environmental friendly materials. And not only that, I think it's not just about the infrastructure, it's also about the practices that we have, right. So to combine a few ideas, we have a we believe in the system of a triangle where the parent, the student, and the facilitators all play key roles. There is no hierarchy at DLRC, right? I mean, everybody's a facilitator or everybody's a learner, to be honest. I mean, and all three of us, we have no coordinators, none of that. There's only one goal, which is learning, immersion. That's all. Whether you're immersing in nature, whether you're immersing in learning.
Yes,
Yeah.
you can continue, Mona. I
Okay.
thought I would just share this slide
Yeah,
which
sure. Yeah,
you all
just
had
that
shared.
triangle, as you can see.
Yes.
So if you look at the triangle, no, the students, right, the children, the learners who are here all the way from kindergarten to grade 12, we have quite a wide range of kids coming on campus. We really like our kids. What we want every single day is for them to immerse in their learning, immerse in every experience that they have, every experience that they create. It's really important for us that they are able to do so. And for that, not only them, but the facilitators need to immerse in it every single day. When we are able to immerse, then only we are able to create the environment where the kids can do so. So we want an environment where the children can be active participants in their learning and be able to ask questions, be able to wonder and nurture and all of that. So considering that, we have a very rigorous program for our facilitator. It's a year round professional development, and there is so much immersion in it. We are talking about pedagogies, we are talking about different philosophies around the world. We are talking about how we are always upgrading our knowledge and our skills, how it is important to work with children, work for them, work for ourselves. And then the third part of the triangle is the parents, who play an equally key role in this whole ecosystem of learning, right? They also need to be active participants in the learning process. So we have monthly meetings with parents, because that's an intentional way to have them be part of our system. We of course have lots of one-on-ones with parents. It's an open door policy. We are always there on campus. Parents come by, they talk to us. We have dialogues on education, we have dialogues on how we can make the space better, how we can be more progressive, and things like that. The biggest philosophy, I would say, along with immersion, is the whole combination of the head, heart, and hand, and the beautiful uh, combination when we are intentionally, meaningfully bringing this in, not just for namesake, but actually bringing it into practice. So, even if you look at one day in our life, it has a cognitive aspect to it, where we're learning with our head, we are doing things that require thinking and doing, and all of that, remembering, etc. Then we've got the hands on component where we're making things. We've got the heart component where we're experiencing things, right? So there's a big emphasis on experiential learning at DLRC, uh, not just in terms of making things hands on, but actually experiencing what we are learning. And that is where, like, if you look at all of it together, it becomes immersive. When you are able to experience what you're learning, you are immersing in whatever you are learning. And once you're immersing in whatever you're learning, you're loving what you're learning. And once you're loving what you're learning, the world's at your feet. So yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's so true. Like even when I speak to my children about learning, I say that, when this is something that you really want to do and you really love it, nothing will stop you. You will be
Correct.
completely immersed in it, and it'll bring a different joy, and that joy will be seen on your face. And when I come to the campus in the afternoons, though these days there are not many children, but when I meet them, talk to them, and I have memories of my earlier days, I always saw children smile and
Mm.
happy. And that was what attracted me to the campus. And maybe that's why we are back again with the LRC.
Trying to
Um,
bring that whole proverb to life. Education is about lighting the fire, not filling the pail, right?
right. True, true. That's so true. And okay, so now to go ahead, so y'all did speak a little about the sustainable campus. Maybe you could throw some more light on the various sustainable practices that one can see here happening. So
Okay, so shall I take that?
yes,
Sure.
yes, Ajay.
Okay, so I would say that sustainable campus. I would say that when I look at Sharmila, where she's sitting, right above her head, the roof is of wood that has been recycled. Mona, where she is taking her this webinar from, the roof is made out of bamboo and things made out of bamboo and chatai and rassi. And all wooden furniture handmade wood that has been recycled, that we get from the local market. Pavan is sitting right between the trees here. So our whole philosophy when we built this campus was to ensure that we protect the trees and we build in practices that are truly sustainable in nature. To that end, we have many aspects to it. Other than the infrastructure, we have a biogas system, a functioning biogas system, where we put in the food waste that is either generated on the campus or from a hotel right down the street, which generates two outputs. One is a gas that we use in our kitchen, and other is the fertilizer that we use in our gardens. Our sprawling vegetable gardens that we have, we do grow a fair bit of vegetables, and connected with that vegetables, we have very recently started a new initiative, which is the aquaponics, which you can see in my background. You can see some people walking back and forth, the greenhouse net there. And it is a combination of, it is primarily mimicking what happens in nature. So the fish waste from the fish tank is used as inputs to the plants, and the plants grow in a soilless environment, in water and in gravel. And we have, this is a 3-month young system, and we have already harvested 2 rounds of greens from the system. Another way of educating children on different methods of farming and making them love the way food is grown, and how to be sensitive about food when it comes to our plate. So there are many other aspects to the campus. So do you know, because it is a campus that has so many trees, we generate a lot of uh, I would say dry waste in terms of leaves that fall. So we put those leaves in a vermicompost, and within a few months we get some very healthy vermicompost, which we then again use in our gardens. Our toilets, they are all biocompost. We don't call it poo and pee, we call it solid nutrients and liquid nutrients. Solid nutrients get converted into very good manure in about 6 months to a year, and liquid nutrients combined with hand washed water are used to garden our or to water our plants in the garden, right? So I would say, all in all, the entire campus, everything is in a way that it is sustainable. All water that is used on the campus in any place is stored and then recycled and used in the plants. So I think I could go on and on, all the
Right,
sustainable
right.
practices that are on the campus. And today we were discussing, this is really about saying, this is how do you don't look at waste as waste, but waste as wealth,
As
as
well.
gold. And that is really what our philosophy is, and that's what we need to imbibe in children.
Right, right. Yes. And this is such an important aspect because if we continue living in the way the popular world is living, soon the entire ecology is going to get damaged. And such practices, such examples, in fact, they shouldn't just be at the DLRC. Slowly, they should spread across, and many more people should start using such sustainable practices. Is And with that, I think, yes,
I'll
yes,
add
Mona, please
something to
add.
that, Sharmila.
Yes.
So, our campus, the entire campus is actually a learning resource for the students and for our lessons. So, throughout the school, we have built in as many lessons for environmental literacy as there are for English or math or science, because it's as important as anything, as any of the subjects. And all the features of the campus are actually incorporated into those, so children have very deep understanding of these systems. Like, one of the projects that they'll be doing now is to actually create a sustainable waste management system for their home, to actually have that lifestyle change. So it's not,
Right. Wow. Yes. And then, something that begins from maybe a few students at the LRC would probably grow to and go ahead and impact the larger world. So that's amazing. I think I must add one more element to your sustainable practices, which is about the school being a no trash zone. So there is one will never find plastic waste. One will not find any other waste which cannot be recyclable. And so children are always told to bring things, their food or even their books, and everything has to be some things that can be reused, recycled, and don't just become a pile of dirt or waste that has to be thrown away. So this is imbibed in every child who comes to the campus, not only child but also the facilitators and whoever is there on the campus. So that's an amazing thing, practice that I feel DLRC has achieved, while I see many others struggling with it. So and then, yeah, so to go ahead, um, I often think about the first day when we entered this farm campus, and that was a day when I could see. In fact, all of us parents were so happy. We were like, "Oh wow, this is something that we want for our children," and so. But we were also part of the children of those who were who did sessions in a small bungalow. So, Mona, why don't you, or any one of you, why don't you recall the journey, from a small bungalow to a farm campus, and share some of your wow moments around, along that you've had along the journey?
sure, we can all three share our own VM. I'm sure we all have our own wow moments. But I do remember the day we decided, all three of us, that it's time for action, sort of thing. We went out and looked for a bungalow, and we saw a bungalow. We didn't, the wall was not straight, whatever. I still remember Pavan laughing about that. Then we found a bungalow fairly fast, to be easy, to be honest. It was just like half a kilometer from our house. And one of the things I really believe is that why do we need to travel 20 kilometers to go to work? Our work should be very close, so we're not wasting time in traveling, and also because we're not wasting fuel and all of that, and if it's not necessary. So anyway, we were thrilled. So we started with two kids in that bungalow, the Sairam bungalow, and there were three of us. So look at the ratio of the students versus the facilitators. Two students to three facilitators, and all of us were like, okay, I'm going to take this lesson. I'm going to take this lesson. I'm going to actually. Okay, honestly, like none of us had a hardcore teaching experience per se, because I mean Pavan has been doing different things and Ajay has been more in business and things like that, and I've been in education, but I've been doing more like teacher development and curriculum. So we have our experiences, but then we were just thinking, okay, we've got these two kids, how can we transfer everything that we know to them? That was, I think, the only thing that we could think of all day long. And then surprisingly, like within 2 months of starting that, we had a third student who landed up at our doorstep, and we were very amazed, like how is it even possible? Like, okay, these two kids, like one of them was our daughter, right, and the other one was a neighbor, Pavan's neighbor, right? So we managed to get these two kids, but then the third one coming on their own was a wow moment for us, right? Because okay, and then we had a fourth kid coming, and then the fifth and the sixth and the seventh and the eighth. So by the end of first year, we had eight kids, and we couldn't believe, that was like a huge revelation. Okay, are we really onto something? Why are people coming? Like, what are we doing because of which people are coming? So that was good. That was really a good boost for us. And then we floated a summer camp in the month of March, in the at the end of our first year, which many kids attended because many schools closed during that time, right? So parents are looking for a summer camp. So we had not really strategized it, we just did it, because we were always doing things. Even in a bungalow there was always some workshop happening, always something was always happening, right? So I remember that about 30 kids had come for that summer camp, or so, for the month long camp, and 14 of them stayed back, and they didn't want to go back, and they just wanted to be part of DLRC as their learning journey. And again, that was another very big stepping stone for us, because we started the second year with 25 kids, and we were now beginning to really think about, okay, now, and then we had kids of all ages. Right, so we had started with two high schoolers, thinking that we are going to have a high school program, but then we also had kids now in grade 2 and grade 1, and we're thinking, how are we going to work with this wide range of kids, right? So we began to think of systems, putting things in place, getting books. I think one of the most favorite activities was to always go to Appa Balwan Chowk to get, like, thousands and thousands of rupees of books, because we really thought that books are like the thing for learning, right? So that, and then this continued. So the kids started coming, then the word of mouth, and by the end of second year we had 50 children. And we had to really we had now begin to think, and we also had a couple of facilitators, and you were one of them, Sharmila. And right, in fact we had four facilitators in Sairam bungalow, so we were seven of us and there were 50 kids. And that's when we felt, no, now this bungalow is becoming too small, we need a larger place. One thing we were very clear was, we need a place that's set in nature, or it has is an open structure. But that seemed like a distant dream in a city, right? And as you may call, like, blessings, whatever you may call it, we had put out a message on a email on some group, and we were put in touch with the owner of our farm where we are currently, Miss Radha Shellet, who has this 4 acres of beautiful mango orchards and things like that. And she had never ever thought of giving part of the farm to anybody until we came along and we shared our vision and our ideas. And she may have liked it, so she gave us, so we rented a small half an acre of the front part of the farm, and we built our structures all in wood, all in mud, minimum concrete except for the pillars and the foundation, etc. And those were wow moments. And you know what was really beautiful, one of my most favorite memories, Sharmila, about building this campus is, it was April, end of second year, right? Hot. We all know how hot it gets. And we had
Yes.
50. 55 kids at that time, and we had about 9 or 10 facilitators, right? We all came to the campus because we left the bungalow. We came to the campus, and each one of us built this campus with our each kid, even the youngest of kids who were like 8 years old. They were carrying the tasla with the mortar in it, moving. We had formed chains to pass the taslas for all of that. And I think that was beautiful. That was really, even now when I go back and look at those pictures, I think this
Yeah.
was really amazing. And all that collective energy really created this space, I would say. It's been an organic process, right? We've
Mm-hmm.
created structures, and as the need grew, we rented more parts of the land. And now we are about an acre of land, and we have quite a few structures, new structures. Where I'm sitting right now, this is a grade 10 classroom, and very beautiful, meticulous work in the roof. So, yeah, now we have about 220 kids, and many batches have also passed out. So, we've had about 5 batches of grade 12 and 6 batches of grade
Mm-hmm.
10 that have gone out now into the wider world. So,
Yeah.
wow moments, but
Wow.
I'll let Pavan and Ajay share if they have any.
Yes. In fact, we would like both also to share their wow
Yeah,
moments because.
yeah,
Well, I should say that Mona's put it so beautifully, and I can almost kind of relive everything while she talks about it. And well, I had a very we've had many wow moments,
yeah.
and one very interesting wow moment was that in Sairam Bungalow when we were in the second year. So this was first term, and this was Mona. This was before Mona told me and Ajay, मैं इतने आवाज से और इतने बच्चे हम लोग नहीं अकोमोडेट कर पा रहे, तो जाओ ढूंढ के लाओ एक कैंपस हमारे लिए. Then we used to go
I
on
don't think
Ajay's
I said it
scooter.
like that.
We used to go on Ajay's scooter and find out. And this is how organically we have also divided work amongst ourselves. And the kind of trust that we've had is a very, very important factor in the journey. I would like to really build that in, and say that uh, you know that is many a times not given that amount of due and credit also. And that is a very important thread that binds everybody, and that's also a very important thread that binds our community together on
Right.
doing that. So coming back to this incident, so we were sitting there outside, and some of the students were searching for something, and that student is in 12th standard right now, passing out. And so I said that, hey, go look around the campus. We were in the bungalow then, and I just said that, go look around the campus. We said, campus? What campus are you talking about? We're a bungalow. you know and at that time I told them, very soon we're going to have a campus, and I'll make sure that you are able to search on a larger area. And here we are sitting in the campus, such a beautiful
Yeah.
campus. And I would say that it is a privilege to be on the campus of DLRC. And it's an amazing feeling to be here, facilitate, and show the hope. I think not for the future, show the hope for the present, and
Right.
that's what the power is.
Wow. Wow. Amazing. Ajay, would you also like to share some?
Well, I the only thing I will say is that Mona tells that I think that this is my first home and the home is the second home, because if I'm not home, you'll probably see me on the campus. Just love being here. Just as Pavan said, it's a privilege. And we'll say that from a learning perspective, Sharmila, is that if we can make kids like something and love something, they will definitely preserve it and
Right.
nurture it and grow it. And I would say that is really the gift that we are giving to the children who come here, creating an impression. We call it brain tattoo. So it's like an impression you are creating in the brain for life. Saying, okay, saying this is something to cherish.
Right. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. And that's so amazing. So even one of my wow moments has been, the open classrooms that I had to facilitate, and very often because the approach to learning is quite child led. So I remember days when the children would say, okay, I'm curious about this. And I would say, okay, let's explore it. Let's explore and let's find out more. And I know over the years, the program has become more structured, but I still see the facilitators integrate this whole child-led things and take the themes that they have for the primary or the subjects, and the rigor increases as children go into middle and high school. But it's always been about concrete experiences which take you to more abstract learning, and I see that happening every day at the campus. So, and even with my children who are here now. So are there any other elements that you would like to add to
Yeah. So
how
Sharmila, I was just going
learning
to
takes place?
yeah, I was just going to
Mm.
share another class of wow moments for all of many of us. I would say that it's whenever we've given more responsibility, onus, openness to the students, and I should say to the parents also. They have always surprised us with a kind of ownership, and I say this so many times, and I think we should all remember it at least once a day. DLRC or a community like DLRC is possible only because of the students. If they had not decided that yes, we want to learn in this way, nothing like this would have been possible. So
Right.
those that is the constant, perpetual wow moments that many of us live in.
And I want to add to what Pavan has said just about the students is that there have been now two instances in the high school where we have started to do something, and we have been wanting them to do it, and we gradually saw that they were not really getting engaged, and we had a very heart to heart dialogue. I said, look, okay, we see that you are not getting engaged, we want you to do it, tell us what is the challenge, do you want to do it? And they felt comfortable to tell us what is wrong, what is it that they don't want to do, and what they want to do. And now that is something very powerful. It is for A is for them able to express it, and B is to have a dialogue with us and say, look, we feel that this is more important to us. And
Mhm.
this is a very important life skill as we grow,
Right.
is to do give critical critique, but in a way that it is respectful and accepted, and you move on.
Yeah. Yes. Wow. Yeah. So, a space where children and their what they feel and what they think or their thoughts around it, their opinions around it are valued, and they get a space to voice that. They get a free space where they can share their heart out. I think that is also where the heart element comes in. And it's not only about just doing things that the facilitator is telling you, but it is about what do you feel. Yes, and it's true that certain times certain children would be engaged in something, sometimes they won't want to do it, but to feel that they can share it and they can talk about it, I think that itself talks a lot about the value that the space has for children and who are an integral part of it. So amazing. Is there anything else, that y'all would like to share around this? I know, because it's always a joy to hear moments where you can see things happening and things people
I'll
feeling
share.
charged. Yes,
So
ma'am.
yeah, so it's so important because as much as the children are important and the parents are important, equally important are the facilitators, right? Because they are the ones who are energizing and driving all of the stuff, that's all the learning. So the various things that we do, when we have new facilitators, I still remember, like, just 2 3 days back, I was having a conversation with one of the facilitators, and she went on and on about how she absolutely loved the idea of self-directed learning that we floated last year for one whole month for middle schoolers, and how she had never imagined that something like this could be manifested. She thought something like this could is really good in theory, and can't really be done. I mean, it's maybe we can try it, but she actually was able to do it. And she worked as a and she mentored so many kids to successfully complete their self-directed learning projects. And I think these wow moments, and this is not the first time I hear facilitators talk about what they're enjoying about their work. I think it's so critical that we all enjoy what we are doing. Because with just like that, Sharmila, like I said earlier, it's all about immersing, right? If we want to live our lives, we need to immerse. It doesn't matter how many things you immerse, but even if you can immerse in one thing really well, I mean, you've got it right, you
Yeah.
understand it, you live it, then you can share it, right? Unless you're able to share something with somebody, you've not experienced it. And this is what, for me, every day is a high moment, when some facilitator shares a certain story from the class, and they're so happy to share these stories. And every day, like, we have a WhatsApp group, somebody will post a picture of what happened in the class today, or they so proudly display the art, or the story, or the poem, or the math problem, or whatever it is through the day that they go through. I think for me that is really beautiful. That is
Wow.
like hands down beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah, seeing
Wow.
people love what they're doing, I think that's good.
Mhm. Mm. Yes. Yeah. On that note, I think I'm going to move a little ahead in our conversation because we're already 41 minutes down. And yeah, so recently I know I have come back to DLRC also to work on something where, we've had DLRC students experiencing, enjoying, learning, but I've come into the picture with a vision to extend these experiences with the larger community. And I remember our conversations, and initially we thought that, okay, we can have something for the homeschoolers. And then we said that, why only homeschoolers? Why can't it be the general community? And initially we called it the after school program. And then we moved on and we said, no, it has to be a different name. This doesn't click completely. And then the word extended experiences came from Ajay. So maybe you can, one of you can share a little about uh, where does this idea come from and what inspires you to offer all these experiences to the general community.
You know, it's so interesting that a few years ago I had to I had the opportunity to kind of interact with the commissioner of education for the state, and so Vishal Solanki, and he said that, you guys are doing great work for 200 to 20 kids. You need to think about beyond your campus, you know? And that really inspired us a lot, saying that how can we extend our experience at DLRC, and that truly is manifesting right now, thanks to, teammates like you who've kind of become co-journeyers, I would say, and co-learners in this journey of, getting it out into the extended community. And the same experiences that the students of DLRC, the parents of DLRC, and the facilitators of DLRC are experiencing, how can we extend that to the larger community outside DLRC? And how can we say that, yes, DLRC has been a resource, DLRC has been a learning center, and it's driven change. But now, can we become a resource center also, so that everybody around the world, literally, and thanks to, some other entrepreneurs in Mars also, we can actually, include the other people in the universe. And that is the that is the opportunity. And what better time in the pandemic time right now? People have become really open. They're saying that, okay, you want to learn hands on using online, ready. So last year we actually ran, Ajay and I ran at least 10 workshops for kids across the world. And we saw the power of online learning, and we saw how people can get disconnected. So that is where I think we look to offer all these learnings that we do with the students for the wider community. And then it includes so many things. It includes things like special programs, curated programs called as self-designed learning, SDL, or even sports programs. We've done online sports, we've done on-campus sports, and we can really curate those experiences for them, so that it is not just, sports is not just about agility. sports is not just about warm up and doing something and cool down and going home. Sports is about really engaging in using your body, using your mind and emotions, and playing various games and being one with yourself, being one with the environment and ecology. And of course, when it's a team sport, you are then bonding with your teammates. So that is like really crucial. So a lot of these experiences we would like to share with the community, and that's what is, I would say, the extended experiences thing, including the lab, including the design lab, the tinkering lab, and the library, so many other things. Yeah. So
Yes. And also the know-how of our sustainable practices to help the general
oh yes.
community adapt and learn different practices that are here, that can be seen here. Yeah, that's amazing. Um, would any one of you, Mona, Ajay, want to add to that?
Go ahead, Ajay.
Well, Sharmila, I would say that adding on to what Pavan has shared is that extended experiences, right? Really, it's about offering experiences. So it is not about a program, but an experience. An experience happens when you visit something often. You come and interface, interact with them, and that is where we would look at something like. So I would say that DLRC would be is like it's like a museum of various practices, be it sustainable practices, the composting, the infrastructure, the facilitators. So it is really about like enjoying, taking something for the year, coming as often as you can, interacting with the families that visit here, learning from them, and that is really what this experience is all about. And that is what this extended experience is about for the much wider community.
Uh, yeah. And since we are doing this session for the homeschooling community, this is part of our Homeschooling India community group. So I would also like you guys to share a little about uh, how DLRC is providing support to various homeschoolers.
Do you want me to take that?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So like we spoke about, of course the extended experiences are not necessarily limited to a group, but we definitely love homeschooling. I mean, Ajay and I have homeschooled our daughters when they were young. We understand how beautiful this whole process is, and sometimes we need some support systems. Well, we were in the US at the time, and there's a larger homeschooling community in US, and this, it's far more structured, and all of it in India it's just sort of coming up, and thanks to the initiative of so many parents today who are willing to homeschool their children. So what the kind of things we would like to offer is, of course, the campus. Come to the campus. I was telling my daughter the other day, Sharmila, that there are fewer places in cities now where we can just take our children for leisure, where we can just take our children for reading, where we can just take our children to be with them. So can DLRC campus be one of those places where we can be with our children? That is something that we would like to, like, this campus is open for that, of course. And then there are the library services where the children can come and they can collect, and we have more than 8,000, 9,000 books in our library, and we're always adding more. And there's a whole library for English books, and there's a whole library for Hindi books, and there's a beautiful collection of books. So I would invite homeschooling kids and parents and families to come and become members of the library, and read a lot, right? And then we've got the sports program, and we've got the self-directed learning project. So if you all want to do projects, sometimes you feel lonely at home, doing it together, you can come. We can provide a mentor, and you can do a project of your choice, of your own interest, for as long as you want. I mean, currently we are starting a project which is a 1 month long project, but this is something that anybody should be able to use this space to do what they would like to do, what they aspire to do. So we can, I think it's an exhaustive list of the things that DLRC campus can actually offer. I mean, and I invite homeschoolers to even think of ideas that they can to do on this campus, right? So, and then beyond that, for Cambridge exams, like our 10th and 12th graders, they appear for the Cambridge exams, right? So we invite homeschoolers, if they need support, in preparing for the exams, then we can create a program for them. We've already thought about such a program where they can come, they can enroll in that program where they can get practice papers, mock papers, get ready for the exams. They can register through us and give their exams. It's a very seamless process. We've been doing it for years now, and everybody's got the hang of it. The whole team understands. There are dedicated people for these processes, and it's very very efficient. One thing that I think I really pride being part of DLRC, in the sense that we've really looked at processes in a very efficient manner. So there's very little wastage of energy in terms of human interaction also, and that way we get things done. So I would invite you to come up with your own ideas. If you don't find something that's already happening at DLRC exciting, you can create your own program. So I think it's a really open world,
There
Sharmila.
is a
Yeah.
you have an internet
Yeah. Oops. Is Sharmila disconnected?
Looks like, because I can hear you, Mona. I can hear Pawan.
We can take some questions if
Yeah,
people
yeah.
have questions. Oh. Hmm.
Sharmila
I
did
wish
get disconnected.
connected.
Yeah, yeah. So I think she
We
will
have
just
a
join
way
in.
to. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, it's really interesting that it's almost like coming into a full cycle, right? Uh,
Mm.
we started off with certain students who were homeschoolers. You remember Rain, right? And there was also Manas Jain, who
Unschooler.
right at the start, right, unschool or homeschool. So I'm actually in my mind it's more about saying self schooler or
Yeah.
unschooler,
Correct.
homeschooler, or whatever. There's so many schoolers, and in fact DLRC we call as the learning center. So learning learner also, I would say. So including all these names, and now we're coming back to that, I would say, cusp where we're thinking that, hey, can we really see that we can curate programs which can be valued for valuable for those students, and also guide them in places that they actually find certain loopholes in their learning journeys. And
Mhm.
I'm really glad that we're able to kind of do that about it.
or I
So I
think
think
there
we
has been
just
an
waiting
internet
for
connectivity issue because I
joining.
lost connectivity completely.
It's okay, Sharmila. It's okay, Sharmila. We can see you now.
Yeah.
Okay. Both of us are hearing. Okay, Pavan.
Ajay, do you want to go see, check on Sharmila and see if we can help her with the internet?
Yeah. Mona, were you saying something?
And I was just saying, let's go and check on Sharmila to see if we can help her with the connectivity issue.
I'm just checking right now. Give me a second. एक मिनट
Okay.
एक मिनट एक मिनट
हाँ. Okay. Okay.
Yes, this thing used to be.
Hand. अच्छा.
Oh.
We can hear.
Okay, I'm really sorry, guys. We had some internet connectivity issues, and I completely went offline. So I'm here, right next to Ajay, continuing our conversation. We were talking about the homeschooling support when the connection went off, but I'm hoping that even if I was off, the live continued, and you guys heard what was there. But just to reiterate, I'm going to share, because I'm right here, a homeschooling parent too. So for me, I think the fact that my children get access to this space, to come, to play, to be in a beautiful space which has so many trees and so many birds. In fact, the other day my daughter clicked a photo of a bird that she saw, and she was like, "Mama, that I have never seen a bird like this." So for me, I think as a homeschooling mom, this is a space which brings in so much learning for my children. And when they just come here and be, and even if they don't want to be part of any workshop or any lessons, just to sit, by themselves in a corner under a tree, maybe, is an experience that I look out for my children. So and also a reason why I'm here, so that this space opens up to many more homeschoolers. They can come, they can use the space, be part of workshops, come with their own ideas too, that, okay, can we do this here? Can we do that here? So looking forward to having homeschooling co-ops, maybe meetups in this premise. Apart from that, I think Mona, Jay, and Pavan shared the support program that has been created for the IGCSE and NIOS students, children who, homeschoolers who want to give these exams, so they get enough support over there. And yeah, so the many things. Do connect with us, do connect with me for more details around that. And now towards the last bit, of our conversation today. No place is, complete without challenges and without place, experiences that, in fact, I believe that challenges bring in the biggest learnings, and you learn so much from them. So would you like to share, what were your major challenges and your learnings around them?
What challenges? See, honestly, why is my voice echoing?
We can hear you
We can hear
clearly.
clearly.
All right. Uh, challenges is a very interesting word, no, Sharmila, because it really depends from person to person how you see a challenge, how you see a situation. Is it just a situation, or a challenge is something that pushes us to think differently, right? If we and it's an obstacle that is coming because I am feeling that obstacle because I either don't have the skills to encounter to address it, or I have a I have an idea. When I'm saying I mean generally, like people, we have an idea and then we want to go around, like we want to go with our idea, but sometimes we see it's not just manifesting for some reason, right? And we say, oh, I'm challenged with this idea. But the way I have learned, or we've all, like collectively been thinking about it, is that every challenge only appears as a challenge because we don't yet have the skills or the knowledge to work around it, right? So it just means it's an opportunity to learn. And that's how we like to look at it. So yes, the whole journey, now we're entering into our 8th year. It's been a challenging journey from that point of view, because we did not have many skills, we still don't have so many skills that we require to grow. Every day is a challenge that way, because when we were new in this whole thing, building the whole campus, learning about materials, even deciding or thinking about what we should keep in our program, what we should not keep in a program, who we should have on the team and who we should not have on the team, uh, how to utilize the open spaces, how to make them most effective, how to you know there are so many, like what books to use, how much fees to charge. Everything is a challenge in its own way, right? And then it has been, I think each challenge has been the reason why we've grown and why we are where we are today. Because we've said, okay, fine, we've got this idea, we've got this situation, and we've got to find answers to it. So to be a solution minded, I think I will say that very happily and confidently for the three of us, and even now it's filtered down into the team, is we are very solution oriented people, in the sense, okay, we've got this situation, let's see how we can, what can be done about it. Yeah. And then we go all out to learn, if we need to learn a skill, or if we need to find a way, or be really really creative about solving a problem. Yeah. But let Pavan and Ajay also talk.
Yeah, can Ajay go next, please?
Yes,
Oh,
Ajay.
oh, Pavan.
We'll put
Okay.
you in this.
Well, I would say that the challenges are always with any entity when you run, is to say, okay, how do you balance both the top and the bottom, right? So the revenue and the expenses, and it's always, we always come from the perspective as what is best for the children, and that is really what drives us. And do you know what? We don't pull any punches when it comes to learning for the kids. We see a good resource and we say, let's get it. Nobody asks, okay, did you have a budget, did we plan for it, or where is it coming from? And that is the spirit that we go in with. And yes, it does pose a challenge, like Mona said, in terms of the fees, and in terms of keeping our numbers, because we have a self-imposed limit as to how many numbers and how many students we'll have on this campus. So these are all challenges. But yet, you know what? Since these are self-imposed challenges, and at times they are self-imposed, sometimes they're external challenges, we do need to come up with workable solutions that is workable both for us and the community. And so there you go. That's what the challenge is from my end. Pavan, over to you.
Yeah, I would say that my most important challenge that I keep facing every day, even right now, is that how do you let go of an amazing conversation? And starting by, even with the primary transition kids. So I'm homeroom for them, and it's difficult to not get carried away by the individuals that the students are, and to connect with them at that level, and still say that, hey, no, our agenda is learning. Of course we're having fun in dialoguing, discussing this, but then there's a next lesson and all that. So that's, I think, the top challenge, because we all love each other so much in the community. And but even otherwise, I would say that the top challenge has always been our drive to better ourselves. What we are today, how can we be better tomorrow, better than that, for ourselves, for our parents and our students, facilitators, everybody. And I think that's a benchmark that we set every day. Of course, there are other things that come along. Like if we look at it right at the start of DLRC, like Bola mentioned, how we collected voices, I would say, who would add in this, the picture that we've painted. It's more about understanding that nobody wants to talk about a learning space, they want to talk about learning. So that is what our first learning was, that we need to focus on the work of the kids, and that's what we have always focused on to. And there was another challenging position where at some point of time there were certain misunderstandings with some parents, and what we did is we actually talked to them, about it, and we also thought about it, hey, let's just share all the good work being done by the students, parents and facilitators. And that kind of drove our social media campaign and going ahead. And now a lot of people know about us, not only in Pune but also in otherwise, because we thought about overcoming that challenge then. So every challenge has been a great learning jump, I would say. And that's how we look at it. Like Mona said, we are problem solvers, and we look at them that, hey, great,
No,
it's a
we're not
learning
problem
opportunity.
solvers, we are solution finders.
Yeah, yeah, solution finders.
Yeah.
When you
So
say problem solver, you're emphasizing on the problem. When you say solution finder, you're
Yes.
emphasizing on the solution. And this is
right,
something I've been thinking about it.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah.
see, that's another kind of learning jump we have here.
Right, right. Yes. So even when we started on our unschooling journey, there was a lot of thought that we put in this concept of whether we look at the problem or we look at the solution. And that's when we realized that, making things happen
Yes,
is kind of a goal for us as a
absolutely.
family. That how
Yes,
can we make it happen? How can we make it happen for the children, for ourselves? And believe me, just that perspective change brings in such a
absolutely.
huge difference in
And it's
the in
very
your
peaceful.
outlook. Yes, and it is very peaceful. There is so much hope in that word,
Hmm.
solution finding. So amazing. And I think on that note, since we've also completed our 1 hour schedule, so I think I'm going to say a big thank you to Mona, Ajay, and Pavan for coming and sharing with us a beautiful practice which is so crucial to our learning journeys, and in fact to everybody's learning journeys. To live a sustainable life is such a crucial aspect of living, and if we don't look into it now, I think I don't know what the world would be for our children and their children and so on. So, thank you so much. I'm sure your work is going to spread across the world, and you will see it through the sustainable practices that people use. So thank you so much for being with us today. And with that, I'd like to end the live. Thank you, viewers. I didn't see any questions coming, so I'm sure we've done a good job. So thank you.
Thank you, Sharmila.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
Sharmila,
Bye.
Ajay,
Bye.
Mona, and all the viewers. Thanks a lot.
Okay. I think I'll have to go there and
Oh, okay.
end the broadcast.